treat a disease, you win, you lose. You treat a person, and you win no matter what the outcome. Those words capture the spirit of a man who spent his life giving laughter to the world. For decades, millions knew him as a whirlwind of energy, a comedian whose mind moved faster than anyone could predict. Yet behind that unforgettable smile was a quiet struggle that few truly understood. Years after his passing, his daughter finally shared the painful truth about what was happening to her father in the final chapter of his life. What the world once believed about his death turned out to be only part of the story. The reality was far more complicated and far more heartbreaking. Before he died, doctors had told him he was in the early stages of Parkinson's disease. It was frightening news for a man whose quick wit and rapid-fire imagination had defined his career. But after his death, medical examinations revealed something even more devastating. His brain showed severe damage caused by a rare neurological condition known as Lewy body dementia. The disease is often difficult to diagnose because its symptoms closely resemble Parkinson's and other neurological disorders. In Robin's case, the illness had been quietly progressing, altering his mind and body in ways even doctors struggled to understand. Robin McLaurin Williams was born on July 21, 1951, in Chicago, Illinois. His childhood was not what people might expect from someone who later became one of the funniest entertainers in history. As a young boy, he was often shy and lonely. His father was a busy executive, and his mother frequently traveled for work, leaving long stretches of quiet in their large home. In that silence, young Robin discovered something important. If he could make people laugh, he could make them pay attention. Humor became his language and his shield. Much of his early childhood companionship came from the family's housekeeper, who listened patiently as he invented characters and voices. Those early moments of playful imagination slowly developed into a remarkable talent. At school, classmates began to notice his ability to transform ordinary conversations into hilarious performances. Still, underneath the laughter was a sensitive boy who often felt invisible. When Robin was 16, his family moved from Michigan to California. The change forced him to start over socially, but it also gave him the freedom to reinvent himself. In his new environment, he leaned fully into his comedic personality. By the time he graduated from high school, he had earned a reputation as the funniest student around. At first, he attended college to study political science, but the classroom quickly felt limiting. He realized that acting and performance were where he truly belonged. After several years of studying drama, he achieved something remarkable in 1973 when he received a scholarship to the prestigious Juilliard School in New York City. Only a small number of students were accepted each year, and among his classmates were future stars like Kelsey Grammer and Frances Conroy. At Juilliard, Robin's boundless comedic instincts sometimes clashed with the strict classical training of the school. Teachers admired his talent, but wondered whether he could control his improvisational energy long enough to perform serious dramatic roles. When he appeared in a production of a Tennessee Williams play, some expected the performance to turn into a comedy routine. Instead, he delivered a deeply controlled and powerful performance that surprised everyone watching. Despite that success, the rigid atmosphere of the school never fully suited him. His creativity thrived on spontaneity rather than structure. In the mid-1970s, he left New York and moved to San Francisco, where he began performing stand-up comedy in small clubs. Those performances quickly became legendary. Audiences watched in amazement as he bounced between characters, voices, and rapid-fire jokes that seemed to come from nowhere. It did not take long for television producers to notice his unique talent. During one of his live performances, a producer saw something special in the chaotic brilliance on stage. Soon after, Robin was offered a guest appearance on the popular sitcom Happy Days. He played an eccentric alien named Mork. What was meant to be a small role exploded into a sensation. Viewers loved the character's unpredictable humor, and before long, the spin-off series Mork and Mindy was created. The show turned Robin Williams into a national star almost overnight. Fame arrived quickly and intensely. His stand-up comedy specials drew huge audiences, and Hollywood suddenly saw him as one of the most exciting new performers in entertainment. But success also exposed him to a fast-paced lifestyle filled with late nights, pressure, and temptation. In 1978, he married Valerie Velarde, whom he had met years earlier in San Francisco. Around the same time, his career was accelerating rapidly. The attention and expectations of fame created a complicated balance between his professional life and personal life. He began appearing in films, including the musical comedy Popeye, which unfortunately struggled at the box office. Not long afterward, he starred in The World According to Garp, which earned critical praise and hinted at his potential as a dramatic actor. Yet behind the scenes, he was navigating a difficult environment. He had become friends with fellow comedian John Belushi, and their friendship included the wild excesses common in the comedy scene of the early 1980s. In 1982, Belushi died from a drug overdose. The loss deeply shook him. It forced him to confront the dangerous lifestyle surrounding him. Determined not to follow the same path, he made significant changes. Exercise and cycling became his escape, helping him stay focused and sober. When his son Zachary was born in 1984, fatherhood strengthened that commitment. Holding his child for the first time gave him a sense of responsibility that reshaped his priorities. For a while, life felt more stable. However, personal relationships remained complicated. By 1988, his marriage to Valerie had ended, and he later married Marcia Garces, who had previously worked as a nanny for his son. Together, they built a life that included raising 3 children and collaborating on creative projects. During this period, Robin's career reached extraordinary heights. His performance in Good Morning Vietnam demonstrated that he could combine humor with emotional depth. The role earned him his first Academy Award nomination and transformed him into a respected leading actor. He continued choosing projects that blended comedy with heartfelt storytelling. Dead Poets Society showed audiences a quieter, inspiring side of his talent. Hook brought magic to younger viewers, while Mrs. Doubtfire became one of the most beloved family comedies ever made. His voice performance as the genie in Aladdin showcased his improvisational brilliance and introduced him to a new generation of fans. One of the most meaningful relationships in his life remained his friendship with actor Christopher Reeves. The two had known each other since their days at Juilliard. When Reeves was paralyzed in a horseback riding accident in 1995, Robin rushed to visit him in the hospital. Disguised as a Russian doctor, he performed a ridiculous comedic routine that made his friend laugh for the first time since the accident. For Robin, humor was never just entertainment. It was a way to bring hope into dark moments. In 1997, he achieved one of the greatest milestones of his career when he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his role in Good Will Hunting. The performance, portraying a compassionate therapist guiding a troubled young genius, resonated deeply with audiences. To the outside world, his life appeared almost unstoppable. He balanced blockbuster films, charity work, stand-up comedy, and family life. But even during these successful years, he continued battling personal struggles, including addiction. After nearly 20 years of sobriety, he relapsed in the early 2000s. Recognizing the danger, he entered rehabilitation in 2006 to regain control. The experience was difficult and strained his marriage to Marcia, which eventually ended in divorce. Later, he met Susan Schneider, a graphic designer who brought renewed stability into his life. They married in 2011, and for a time, things seemed hopeful again. Yet soon subtle health problems began to appear. He experienced stomach issues, tremors, insomnia, and growing anxiety. Doctors searched for answers, but initially believed he was developing Parkinson's disease. For someone whose identity was built on quick thinking and boundless energy, the idea of losing control over his mind and body was terrifying. As months passed, the symptoms intensified. Confusion and fear began to replace the humor that had once come so naturally to him. On August 11, 2014, Robin Williams died at the age of 63. The world was shocked. Tributes poured in from fans, fellow actors, and friends who remembered the joy he had brought into their lives. When doctors later examined his brain, they discovered the true cause behind his suffering. Lewy body dementia had spread extensively through his nervous system. The disease causes memory problems, hallucinations, severe anxiety, sleep disturbances, and physical tremors. It can progress rapidly and is notoriously difficult to diagnose while a patient is alive. For Robin, the illness had created a storm of symptoms that no one fully understood at the time. His family later explained that the illness had been silently taking